Hey, this is Jeff. Welcome to my video. This is a video on my series Discovering Kelowna. I set myself the challenge of seeing all Kelowna's city parks in a year, and I am almost done. This week, I am climbing Knox Mountain. So this is a big one. This is perhaps the most famous and popular hike in the whole Kelowna region. Why is that? Well, first of all, I mean, this park has been here for a long time. It's a lot older than some of the other Kelowna parks, but also it's really close to downtown, so it's really easy to get to whether you're a local or a tourist. This mountain is visible from a lot of the city, so that's enough enticement for a lot of people. If you've watched my series or any of my other videos, you'll know I've already visited certain parts of Knox Mountain Park. Very recently, I did a video where I went down the west side and went down the Paul's Tomb Trail and saw that part of the park. Last fall, I did a couple videos, one where I climbed up through the High Point neighborhood and visited Kathleen Lake in a part of the park that was only recently added, less than 15 years ago. And I also did a walk up through the eastern parcel of Knox Mountain Park on the other side, east of Clifton Road. So I've seen a lot of this park, but I have not yet climbed the famous Apex Trail to the peak. So today I'm going to do that, and I'm going to go beyond into the northern part of the park, see some of the other things that are there, and also visit some neighborhood parks in the Magic Estates neighborhood, which is up behind the park. So it's going to be a big week. It's going to be really exciting. I hope you come along and see what I have to show you. So I've arrived at my first landmark on the Apex Trail. This is the lower lookout. From here you get a great view of downtown, midtown, the lake. They have a lot of signs telling you about the different regions of the city. In a past summer, it was possible to drive up to this point and even to the top of the mountain. This summer, however, because of the COVID pandemic, the road has been reserved for hiking down the mountain, and the Apex Trail is only for hiking up the mountain, which means they've closed it to cars. So you have to hike up to this point now, but this is not too high up. You can see, if you've seen any of my other videos, the view is good, but it's not as high as you get from the top of the peaks. So you can tell this is a not too long a hike, but it's good for a nice little workout. It's got a lot of stairs, and you definitely work up a sweat. So here I am at the first lookout. And voila, I have made it to the top of Knox Mountain. Feels good. I'm here at the peak, and after climbing the south face of the mountain, you can now get views all around. So behind me, that's the view to the east. For the first time on this hike, we can see Dilworth Mountain, Black Knight Mountain, and in fact, this is clearly a taller mountain than Dilworth. To the north, you can see there's another peak. The mountain continues, to the west. You can see up north, up the lake, right? You can see all at Bear Creek and lots of things. There's a lovely viewpoint up here, and of course we're much higher than the lower viewpoint. This park was bustling down at the bottom. It's always busy, but once I got up past the lower viewpoint, it was much more like a typical hiking trail that I've been on. Definitely some people on the trail, but not crowded and bustling like the bottom part of the park. So views are great. I feel accomplished, and I'm gonna go see more of this park now. So normally at this point I would say, here I am in my first park of the week, Knox Mountain Park. But I think you already know I'm in Knox Mountain Park. Just to wrap up the Knox Mountain portion of this video, I am filming to you here from a plaza among the pines built in 1967 to honor the people who made this park possible. You can see behind me there's a cairn to S.M. Simpson, and he ran the sawmill on Manhattan Point and was the premier maker of wooden fruit boxes in the British Empire, and sold them all over the place, and appears to have made a substantial amount of money, because after his death he donated a lot of money to a fund that provided for the development of this part of the park, and also the S.M. Simpson Pavilion and other things, to make this park really accessible to all the people of Kelowna. And there's another cairn with a flagpole, which is now rusty and not being used after 50 years, to A.B. Knox, who was the cattle rancher who originally owned this land, and also made a ton of money by selling it to the people who founded Kelowna to help them expand in 1905 when the city was incorporated. And then the last cairn is to Dr. Benjamin Boyce, who was the city doctor in the first half of the 20th century, and he owned this land and donated it to the city, or he sold it to the city for $1, a formality, so that it could become a park. So those are the people who made this park possible. This is a really special park. You know, I've enjoyed all my trips to this park. Every section of it is interesting. You know, I've climbed a lot of hills now around Kelowna. Mine Hill, I climbed through John's Family Conservancy, I climbed Dilworth, right? I climbed lots of hills, and they're all great. I had a good time, don't get me wrong, but there is something special about Knox. I don't know if it's the variety or if it's the amount of love and attention that's been given to it, but it's got some really precious ecosystems and some really amazing views, and you know people love it, you can tell. And it's a special park, and I'm glad to have been here, and I'll definitely be coming here again. So this has been Knox Mountain Park. Now on to something else. Hey, so here I am in my next park of the day, Avonlea Park. This is a lovely park on Avonlea Way, and you can see by walking around this park that I think for the 90s, this was a really cutting-edge, innovative design. It's unlike any other neighborhood park I've seen in Kelowna. So it sits on a turn in the street that's been shored up by walls with huge concrete retaining walls for the street, and then the park is in a sunken spot outside the edge of the street. I don't know if that description makes any sense, but you can see that I'm kind of in a lowered area, and there's this wooden walkway that takes you from the street to other parts of the subdivision. And so it splits the park in two, and there are playgrounds on both sides. To my left here, which is the more easterly part of the park, there's lots of playground pieces for little kids, and on the other side is a swing set for slightly bigger kids. So it's a really neat thing, and I think it also doubles as a place to retain stormwater or has some other utility function, because there's a large pump at the end of the, or some device at the end of the walkway up there. So yeah, it's a really cool little park. You know, it's good to have neighborhood parks, good for this to be where some kids can play. Also good to manage the water that's flowing around on top of the mountain here. Of note, also the southern section of this lot that the park sits on is a huge mound of bedrock that's sticking up. So it hasn't been developed really, but they obviously couldn't build houses on it, and they didn't really make it into part of the park. It's just kind of sitting there in the middle of the subdivision, a reminder that we are on top of a mountain. Hey, here I am coming to you from my next park, Merlin Court Greenspace. So looking behind me, you can pretty much see the entirety of this quote-unquote park. So of course I'm here because it's on my official list. Why is it on my official list? Because it's listed as a park on the City of Kelowna website. So yes, this is park land on the side of the road. Seems to be mostly used for turning around your car and for this electrical box we see there. So not a developed neighborhood park as you would think of it, but a piece of city land that is serving multiple purposes very few of which might be recreational, but nevertheless, I suppose it has potential to do more in the future. But I had to come here, and I'm glad I did. Checked it off my list, Merlin Court Greenspace. Hey, so that was my walk for this week. Yes, it was a big one. Finally, I got to climb Knox Mountain. And here I am back at the Pioneer Pavilion on top of the mountain. Of course, we climbed the Apex Trail all the way to the Apex Lookout. And it was great, and I got some amazing views. And then from this pavilion, we headed north. Saw some more amazing views in the northern part of Knox Mountain. I saw a view at the top of the Ogopogo Trail that gave an amazing look at Bear Creek and its delta and its canyon, and that connected me through a walkway with Magic Estates, where I saw the Avonlea Park, which, now that I think about it, was probably built where a pond used to be. So that's probably why the pump is there, and I wonder if they would do that today. But then we moved on from there, and we saw the underwhelming but no less official park, Merlin Court Greenspace. So 3 parks, you know, not too many, but one of them was a doozy, and I'm really super glad I came, and I'm glad you followed along and watched what I could show you. I got very little left in my challenge. I think I'm gonna get it done. I got about a week and a half left, and only a couple more parks to go. So stick with me, subscribe, and you'll find out how it ends. And if you like this video, hit the like button. Either way, I hope to see you next week.